Yo, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, A Beautiful Game of Life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com, co-executive directors of Vibes. Who month episode, Bridget Flores. What's going on, y'all?
Woo woo.
We're back here.
Overtime.
Yeah, we got that
We're
overtime
doing
love.
overtime.
Yeah,
We're doing overtime today. We're doing overtime today.
Yeah,
in that overtime.
Yeah, because we are, for those of you watching on the YouTubes, we are matching today. Julio's got the alternate kit.
A little
Bridget,
spiffy collar type vibe.
Yeah. Bridget and I have the home. Overtime, Klarna, Kappa collaboration. These are crazy. They reached out, gifted us with a nice little care package. So shouts to Overtime FC, shouts to Klarna, shouts to Kappa.
Klarna, we need that discount code.
I know.
Let us know.
Appreciation to them.
Appreciation. No, shout out to y'all. Thank you so much.
Came right in time too, because it's hot as heck outside, man.
Yeah.
And the cap on the side with the overtime.
Yeah,
that's dope. That's hard.
That's my favorite right there.
It's super clean. I really like that design. It's dope, and I like this one too. I feel like this is giving like summer vibes for sure, and that one gives more of like summer, but also you can rock it in the.
You're gonna
fall.
see me in the golf course with this.
Yeah,
too.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the classic Mexico jersey. You remember?
Yeah.
That
was it the ABA?
ABA. Yeah. Bridge, I think you have.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, these go really hard. We're seeing more and more of these, brands and media outlets. Overtime's been doing their thing for a minute. And we're seeing a lot more of these collaborations, and I think it's really cool that they're able to especially in the soccer space, grow this a little bit more, especially here in the U.S. So, shouts to them. The kits look great, and we're happy to be in them for this episode.
Of course, 100%. I think more than anything, it's just like it's exemplifying that the culture behind soccer and fashion is coming together more and more. We're normalizing it, and we're seeing it more and more. Because I remember back in the day when I was like in middle school and high school, and we had, especially in middle school, we had like one free dress day, and I always wanted to wear a jersey, but I didn't want to be like called out for being paisa for wearing like a like Mexican jersey, or also I couldn't afford any authentic jerseys at the time, but now I feel like there's a variety of like kits that you can purchase or have nowadays, and it's normalized in a way where it's like it's a sense of fashion, and like you don't have to feel some type of way for wearing it.
I wish I would have let my mom buy me them counterfeit jerseys with the Ronaldo or
the
Swami ones, man. How much money I would have been making right now for those? But yeah, the same, like we couldn't afford really jerseys. Like all we did was follow teams because we couldn't even like think about getting the jersey of the teams, just follow the players. But it's great to see the growth of soccer and where we're going at the right path, bringing fashion, the hip hop culture joining in, your favorite athletes wearing from different sports wearing these jerseys. So it's amazing.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football, the other football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. I was working at a high school last school year, and you'd see, and not even just like Ronaldo or Messi or Real Madrid and PSG users. You'd see like some like kind of like obscure teams, like in the Bundesliga, or even some second, third division teams, and that just shows how much it's growing.
Bless you.
Bless you. Sorry.
Bless you.
That little plant right there is tickling your nose.
I'm out here Eskimoing with a plant. That's the wrap up my weekend.
You're like, not much. How are you?
Again?
Yeah, shout out to the core crew coming through with the plant, the foliage.
I posted on my close
studio.
Yeah, I posted on my close friends.
But I mean just the growth of jerseys and the popularity of them, and you're seeing a lot more kids rocking them now. because like when I was in high school, like it was just the soccer team that would wear the soccer jerseys, and
Right.
you know, even the kids that I knew that were into that stuff, you know, they weren't really rocking it as much. It wasn't as big, but now, especially with like kind of the fashion taking over, you see more and more, and the youth is really what pushes the next trends, because you know, they're really,
and they're students of the game, because they come out with like jerseys and like you said, like older, like second division, like, but like not like jerseys that you can find like 1995 jerseys, like how, like dude, like you're bringing me back. How are you 15 years old rocking something this? I've been looking for a while. So it's great to see how they're making the research, and they're knowing their history, rocking these brands, rocking these jerseys, starting to learn about players that they wouldn't have known if it wasn't for this jersey trend that's going on right now.
And go ahead. I was just gonna say, you bring up a really good point. I think growing up, for me, I saw there was definitely a divide of like within the jocks, like only the basketball athletes would wear their, you know, basketball jerseys, and like the soccer athletes would wear their soccer jerseys. Like you wouldn't really see too much of a variety in that. And nowadays, I'm sure, and I have seen, like, it's anyone's rocking anything, especially within the athlete world.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, the thrift store culture too has really taken that off, and that's where you're seeing a lot of these kind of vintage. Like I forget who it was. Was it like Dua Lipa or some pop star was rocking a Brazil, like a retro Brazil jersey, and that became like a huge hit. Like all of the like you know, like those fashion get ready with me type stuff, like you're seeing like that same Brazil yellow shirt. I forget who it was that
I believe was it the 98 Ronaldo jersey? I
don't remember which one it was, but it was like a kind of it was one of the simple, you know, just the plain yellow Brazil shirts with I don't even know if there was a number on the back, but she had it cropped, so it was kind of like, you know, modernly styled, but that kind of started a whole trend. You know, blow-core has been going on for a while. We had Ferretti when we were talking about it with him a few months ago now. Damn, the time flies. But the kit culture and everything is really just kind of taking off. So we're glad to be a part of that, and we're glad to be getting stuff like this. So shouts out to Overtime once again for hooking
Appreciate
it up. But let's get into the show. Let's start talking about some of the stuff that's going on. Right now, we got into last week. The new season is starting. You know, we got the Champions League coming up in a week. But one big thing that was released was the Ballon d'Or shortlist. You know, I think this year's Ballon d'Or there's a couple of front runners, but there isn't that consensus like, yo, it's going to be so and so. Like, I mean, who won it last year? Messi, right? So last year Messi was consensus, right? Yeah, he was after the World Cup. You know, like that was consensus. He was going to win it. Yeah. Benzema was the year before, I believe, and then Messi the year before, I think. So
I just saw a status like is first time since 2003 that Messi or Cristiano are not on the list.
Yeah.
Damn.
Not on the list.
I think that has something to do with it. But also just like I feel like there hasn't been that one player that's really just taken over. Like Erling Haaland had a season last year where, you know,
last year he was killing it.
It was just like, whoa, this guy's on another planet. And if it wasn't for Messi winning a World Cup, you know, I think that
I feel like he would have been
his.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like there's a few players, you know, Vinicius is at the top of that list.
I don't think he gets the credit he deserves though, because he hasn't had the winning the winning that he's had with the club, like, but like with his national team. But dude, like if you see him play, he's been a key part of Real Madrid's Champions League win. So in my eyes, I think he should be the one and only, because there's no other player like that. And then Rodrigo getting even robbed for not being on the list is kind of crazy.
Rodrigo, I think
kind of crazy.
And I think that's part of being on the Real Madrid tax. Like, you know, it's just like you can only have so many good players to get recognized on one list, and I think he suffers from that. Even though he had a ridiculous Champions League run, you know, there was even talks about him getting sent away to a different team with Mbappe coming, because there really wasn't a lot of room for him. So I think he's someone that's kind of gotten the short end of the stick. But yeah, that's an interesting point about Vinicius, because he had not the greatest Copa America on the international stage, and I think that there's a recency bias to that, and especially with a major tournament year, like you saw, I mean, Messi really won that Ballon d'Or based on the World Cup, his World Cup run, because I mean, he didn't have a great season with PSG, and he was playing in MLS when at the time he won that. So like you can have one really good campaign and like a name behind you to kind of push you up. So I think if Vinicius really would have had a good, or even like an above average Copa America, I think it would be his, really his. And then you see Rodri from Spain and Manchester City. He had a fantastic Euros, and now all of a sudden he's in the conversation too. So you kind of see both sides in action. And is there? Do you think that the international play plays an almost as important role as the club play when there is a major tournament that year?
I think international, because the more casual fans look into international game opposed to like club season, because you got to be fully invested for 9 months out of the year. So it's easy to see a month and a half tournament and make your ruling like, yeah, look how great this play. But everybody knows, like when it comes to like short tournaments like that, sometimes the best team doesn't win it because it's a team that catches fire at the right time. Yeah. So I think it has to be the quantity of games you play and how long you've done it for that to take place. And if you're winning champions, you're doing good in your league, domestic league, EPL, La Liga, they're known as 1 and 2. Some people, they will go back and forth on which is the best. But I feel like it should be how in the season. Plus, it should take a factor as well, international game as well, like how well you do and all that. That should all give you an average score. You just can't have 62 games with your club team and be average, and then have like 7 games and win the tournament, and you're like, hey, look at this guy, he's the man. So I feel like that should be all taken in mind. But bigger tournaments are always gonna count like more, just because of the more casual fans that join that conversation.
Of course. And that goes back to like Messi, right? Like all eyes are on the World Cup, and I mean all eyes were already on Messi. Messi's in everyone's like everyone knows who Messi is. So for him to have won that World Cup, of course, like the Ballon d'Or was like the next thing that was going to be given to him, or like giving him the credit that he deserved. And I think that this year with the Copa America, I think that does add an emphasis, especially to players that are on the list. But like Julio said, it also has to factor in, it's a mix of everything that comes into play behind who they are as athletes, as playmakers, and just like the kind of, their merits as well.
Yeah, and I think Vinicius is not well liked. And it sucks because of the controversy that how mad he gets in the field. Also, some of the comments that are thrown to him from different fans. He does come a little arrogant at times, but like this guy is getting trash talked to fans, players.
He's gotten a fair amount of just completely unnecessary comments thrown at him, and he's dealt with it, I think, very admirably. I think him like when he would talk about it and talk about all the racism that he's faced, I think it was well put on his end, and having to deal with that is just complete.
And he's
nonsense.
human, so of course from time to time he does things that he shouldn't be doing, but he's human. You guys
he's like the sauciest player in the game. Like he's
on and off the pitch.
Yeah, like you're.
I don't know about the dreads though. I don't know about the dreads.
The drip is hard.
The dreads.
The dreads.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you gotta try different things.
There's a certain level of like entitlement that you get when you're that good. Where like if it was like some backup striker playing in in like MLS doing the stuff that he's doing, okay, maybe, but this is Vinicius we're talking about. He's one of the best in the game right now. So that's an interesting thing, that maybe he doesn't get the love and the attention, the respect that
I also think something else that goes into it is the fact that we've talked about this before, like we're in a period of transition with who's like the next big thing, who's the next legend in football history, who's gonna win this next Ballon d'Or, based on the list that doesn't include people we've seen from time and time again, right? Like Haaland is a name that we're seeing again, but like Messi isn't on it, Ronaldo isn't on it, and the players that are on it are also players that are making a big move, and they're creating waves in football history that, let's be honest, not a lot of like Americans are like comfortable with or used to, and just people across or just like fans across like soccer culture, right? Like there's a change happening in the type of players that we're seeing, the type of game that we're seeing. They're younger, like they're the new generation. So it's like we gotta we gotta also let them, you know, like come in and show us who they are. And change is hard for anybody, and I think that because we're in that period of time right now, that's probably why people are so like skeptical or like hesitant to kind of like give that credit to one specific player. But I think it's a good thing, and we're gonna see one of them become, you know, like the greatest, or multiple of them become the greatest.
But I think Messi and Cristiano are still not ready to let that go. Them being the stars. Messi still playing.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to go to another World Cup.
Ronaldo just hit 900.
Yeah.
What,
Ronaldo's
goals?
starting his YouTube, so like he just wants to kept in people's mouth paws, and then like
phrase that better, man. Come on.
No, but he's still not ready to let go of like the aura of
The spotlight.
what Cristiano's spotlight. So until they fully retire and like do like the rest of our goats and just give me a last dance like 20 years from now. So until they get out the spotlight, I think it's gonna be hard for anybody to get in the shadow.
I would love to hear like who Messi and Ronaldo think should win this Ballon d'Or. Like they should do like
that would be great.
A question to them, like who do you think should win it based on this list?
Hey, Ronaldo, next YouTube video.
Hey, look, next YouTube episode, hit me up. I got you. We can create it. I'll send you the deets.
Shout out to Neymar though, real classy of him to tweet about Rodrigo and be like, dude, you're top 5 whether they want to give it to you or not.
Right.
You're top 5 in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another legend that that's still in the space. Like everybody's wondering how's he gonna come back from the last injury. So it's crazy. It's this transition period from like older generation to younger generation. It's kind of hard because these guys are hitting their 40s and still there, and like so there's a whole generation that couldn't be king because the 2 kings are still there.
Yeah. Speaking of generations, it's also crazy to see a 17-year-old being listed on this Ballon d'Or. Like Lamine Yamal, sick player, love him, love his game, and then also Nico, who's I think 19,
is,
20,
20. I think he's 20.
Yeah.
You know, such young players being listed on this, like being nominated in general for this at that age is crazy. I don't know. Shout out to them for that. Do you all think that they're at a point in their lives where they should be deserving of this award?
I mean, right now, probably not. I think
he's performing though.
Yeah, he is.
Lamine or
Lamine,
I mean Lamine. Yeah, Lamine. I mean
he scored in the
talk
final.
about like a tournament that kind of put you on game. Like I mean, people who watched Barcelona, that they knew about him and they knew like that this kid was the real deal. But I think he really on that kind of stage with those kinds of expectations to do what he did was at that age is insane. It's incredible. It's
he put in work.
Like you can't put that into words.
To get the playing time he did. I remember when Messi was coming up and he went to that first World Cup he went to, and then didn't play him and everybody was pissed. Right. They're like, why didn't he play? And like, no, like I still believe that Messi could have made a big difference, but Lamine came in and just balled out. Like made a difference for that Euro tournament as well in the World Cup. So.
He did.
Yeah, I don't think yet. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time, maybe even 1 or 2 years before we see Lamine Yamal's name go into like final 3 or final 5. Same with Nico. I mean, Nico Williams. Did he make his move to Barcelona, or is that still that?
Oh,
that's,
actually
it's
no.
still
No,
not, it's
I
still,
want it to happen.
Yeah,
I'm manifesting that.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're dragging their feet.
It's about
so
time,
yeah,
man.
but I mean, I think he needs to be playing for a top of the top team. Not not to say that
Athletic Club right now.
Oh yeah. So not to say that team is not big, but I think in order to win this in the current state of the game right now, like maybe in the past you could get away with playing for a mid-table club, but I mean right now you need to be playing for one of the best.
Yeah, no. So Nico hasn't gone there, but Barcelona just released their new sick jerseys.
Yeah,
so like you guys gotta go buy so they can afford to get them.
Yeah.
I'm about to go buy one to support the cause.
No, but like
I mean
it's hard. It's a nice.
You see, we see with Real Madrid that they want Mbappe, they get him because that's the difference between Real Madrid and
that's
Barcelona.
the first time that we bring him up on this, and we're talking about Kylian Mbappe. We haven't said his name yet, and he's on the outside looking in for this award, and I think. I mean, it's not going to be this year. You look at the odds; he's I think like plus 400 to win it. So he's for sure not in like the final conversation. He had an all right year. Didn't have the greatest Euros.
He's struggling right now.
Struggling out of the gate with Real Madrid. And you're kind of seeing what we were talking about when he initially was announced about this kind of, growing pains, and we've seen it.
The big three, especially like in NBA.
Yeah, with all this talent, with all these guys that need the ball, or that, and you see, Vinicius and him, that they've a little bit of frustration between the two. That just comes from a lack of playing time together, and I think the more that they kind of understand how each one works, and not just on the training field, but like in the game situations, I feel like once they start getting on the same page a little bit more, then we're going to see that become a little bit more fluid. But to assume that they were going to be
out the gate just running,
and especially they play the same position too, like they're so
but Vinicius is really sending some balls, some giving some good passes to Mbappe, but he's not doing the same. And it goes back to frustration. He's like, just give me the ball. But Mbappe just wants that goal to go in. He just wants to see the ball in the net. Players like that, they just want to see the ball in the net so that everything can start going. He did score 2 goals about a week ago. Throw the gap again. But I think that's all they need. He needs to start scoring goals a little bit, and then everything's going to start flowing. Once he gets rhythm, once he sees that send balls into the middle, just like Vinicius is doing for you. How many 5-0s you're gonna win?
Right.
He's trying to force the game instead of just trying to find the game.
And I think even when he was at PSG, him and Neymar kind of struggled out of the gate, and maybe that had to do with Neymar not really being the best teammate towards him, or vice versa as well. So I think they're both young. They're both used to having the
spotlight,
focal point of the attack on them. So it's going to take some time, but I'm not a Real Madrid fan, but I think I want that to work because I want to see it work. I'm not.
You want to see what their expectation.
But, because as a fan of the game, yes, I want to see some beautiful.
Those are top dogs. You want to see them do something.
Yeah, but I think the name might fit if Galactico 3.0,
it could be.
Galacticos didn't win anything. Once Beckham came in, they did not win anything. So hopefully that history does not repeat itself. But it's a lot of talent. That top 3 line, I think you see those 3 guys coming down full speed. It's crazy. Rodrigo and Mbappe, Vinicius. You see them going down. You're like, no, dude. Park the bus and let's figure it out.
Right.
Going forward.
Yeah, they got to find their dynamic. I think they got to find their dynamic off the pitch before they try to make that happen on the pitch.
You should go get them drunk.
Create some team bonding.
Yeah. Take them to K-Town for karaoke.
That always changes the game.
Does Madrid have a K-Town?
I could bring K-Town to them.
Just bring them out here.
Okay, so regardless of Ballon d'Or, which is really more focused on a seasonal, who had the best season in the world, who do you guys think is the best player in the world right now? Because there isn't a clear top dog, like there was, or at least there is at least Messi, Ronaldo in the past. I think Haaland is in that conversation. Mbappe is in that conversation. You still have Vinicius, all these names, but there isn't one that's consensus number, the top of the top on the throne. It's kind of a fight that's why it's kind of an exciting time right now. But who is your guys' pick for who's the best player in the world that if you were the owner of a team and you can build around one person, who would that person be?
That's a great question.
I'll go Vinicius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's way too dynamic. He honestly, the amount of balls he gave to Benzema, Benzema was top of the table. He was never elite. Well, he was always been an elite scorer, but once they had a one of those wingers that can keep feeding balls like in a crazy amount of times. Yeah. So it really helped his stats out. So
and you talk about somebody who had growing pains at first. There's that whole conversation where Benzema,
didn't like each other.
Benzema was telling people to not pass the ball to Vinicius
because he's playing for himself. He's not playing for the team.
He's not playing for us. There's that kind of leaked audio that was picked up in the tunnel. And then all of a sudden, that he matured a little bit and he grew. So there's still room for him to grow too. But that's just one case of just seeing a player mature into the player that they can be. Okay, Bridge, how about you?
I think that's a hard question for me to answer. I think truthfully right now, like I said, there's a lot of players that I see are becoming, starting to reach their potential and getting bigger and bigger in the game. I can't necessarily pinpoint one person that I'm like, oh, like that's top dog, like that's the one running things.
And we're forgetting about Bellingham. That's crazy.
Jude.
I was thinking of Bellingham too, but he's also
on the list.
Young too.
He's young. He's on the short list. Yeah.
I really appreciate seeing the amount of like young players that are growing right now. I think those are all going to be potential top dogs. If I had to pick, I probably would pick Bellingham. Yeah. I think that he has the potential to not only be a leader, but also be the guy that you create a team around. And he has that. Like, he has that. Look at the way that he went into, Madrid, and look at the amount of success he had just by coming in. And from the very beginning, his debut was amazing. The way that he built character with the team was amazing. Like, you could tell, like, he was flowing well. The momentum was happening. Then they made things happen. So I think he's probably a player I would pick, even though he plays for Madrid. But
yeah, no, and he's played multiple positions. People forget that.
Yeah.
When they need him to attack, he attacks.
Right.
When they need him to
when they need him to score, he scores.
Drop back. When he needs to defend.
He was playing like more of a holding role with England at the Euros.
And everybody gets mad at him, like, dude, like, well, you can't go forward. And we're like, no, he's actually a team player.
Yeah,
and he took that role kind of pretty well, especially for a young player, being put into a position like that. He stuck with the role, and he wasn't as dynamic, he wasn't as consistent as he was with Real Madrid, and there was a lot of criticism around him during the Euros, but I still think he's pretty mature, and he has a really good knowledge of the game. The balls that he puts through, like the passes, that his vision is crazy. And I think he's definitely in the conversation. But if I had to pick, and it's crazy that Vinicius and Bellingham are your guys' answers, and if I had to pick one person, I think it's still Mbappe. Just because you look at what he's accomplished this far in his career. He's been to 2 World Cup finals. Has
he got him? No, right?
He does not have a Ballon d'Or yet, which just kind of goes to show how tough it is to win this award, and the fact that Messi and Ronaldo have, as many as they do is just so impressive. And
like 12 out of the last 23 years? Something crazy like
something. I think it might be even
more.
I know Messi has 8.
Yeah, Messi has 8, and Ronaldo has 5 or 6.
So so like around
14 out of the last probably 18. I would say. I'd have to check that, but the run they had, it was only broken in 2018 with Luka Modric when Modric won after the Croatia won.
Shout out to Luka,
another Real Madrid player. But I think when you look at Mbappe, if you when he's put in positions to succeed, he can take over games by himself. He, playing at PSG, he was not in that consistent, high-level, competition that he might have been had he played in the Premier League, or now we're going to see him in La Liga, and he's kind of struggling. And people are saying he's pulling out those farmer league moves in La Liga, and the defenders
it's not working.
Not working. So
I saw some heel passes he tried. I'm like, dude, he looked like a freaking novice. I'm like, come on.
I think there's going to be he's playing at a higher level. I mean, he's played well in the Champions League. Was never able to kind of get over the hump with PSG, and he was injured. There was some bad luck there, but I think on the biggest stage he always shows up. Didn't have the greatest Euros, but I think the 2023 World Cup, or 2022 World Cup, and the 2018 World Cups, he was electric.
Yeah.
And I think the output that he puts consistently, I think he's the most dynamic player. Now he just needs to figure out how to do it with an A-list cast around him and some tougher defenders going up against. So
but I think France, you can never count France off. They had a great Olympics, and that talent is coming with him. He's gonna be unk soon, so that's crazy. And France always puts out talent. So I see him winning one more World Cup. To be completely honest,
he's 24?
24, 25.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. He might win the next World Cup. To be completely honest, so it's exciting to see all these great players in one team. Just figuring it out is crazy. The big three suffered that first year when Dwight Howard just took him out himself. Dude, he did. So it's gonna be like that. You're gonna see some growing pains before you see all the trophies coming into to that showcase that Real Madrid has.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to the women's side because the women's list was released as well. Barcelona, once again, I feel like they always kind of lead the way. A handful of U.S. women's national team players,
top five.
Yeah, triple espresso. Sophia Smith, Mallory Swanson, Trinity Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
After their kind of that, I mean, we're talking about international tournaments. That's as good of an international tournament as you're going to have. Lindsey Horan was on there, which I don't necessarily agree with. No shade to Lindsey. I think she's a solid player. I don't think she performed at her best.
Right.
And she might even tell you that too. And then Alyssa Nair, who's one of the best goalkeepers in the world year in and year out. But one of the names that was left off was Naomi Girma, who's a center back. And center backs don't necessarily get the love that, I mean, I think maybe one or two center backs on the men's side have ever won the Ballon d'Or. And that's like that's like in
it
the
might have been a Maldini or
that's like back in the 60s when that was. So you don't see the center backs necessarily get the love because it's not a it's not a glorified position. I mean, even goalkeeper, like Emilio Martinez on the men's side was part of that the shortlist, and you can take over games. There's like moments of glory for a goalkeeper. It's not necessarily the most glorious position, but you will get your moment in the spotlight. Center backs, like you don't really see that. I think Virgil van Dijk was probably the closest to getting that award in recent years, but I think Naomi Girma has that Van Dijk like dominance when she plays. And for the last 2 years, she's been the best player in the world.
Yeah.
On the women's side, just the way that she's so smart. She controls the game so well. She rarely makes a bad pass. Always is a step ahead of the offense. She's making tackles that you don't necessarily see made. So I think I get why a center back wasn't put on that list, but it doesn't really make sense that Girma was left off. So. What are your guys' thoughts on the women's Ballon d'Or and seeing how this because last year Aitana Bonmati won it, Alexa Putellas has won I think maybe two or one or at least one. Rapinoe won it after the 2019 World Cup. What are you guys' thoughts on the spotlight being we talked about last week the Nike kits and the spotlight being put on the women's side, but do you guys think that the Ballon d'Or should be kind of more thrust into that conversation when it comes to women's football?
I mean, I think first off, it's crazy that the Ballon d'Or for women started just like a couple years ago, 2018, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
It is because that was not too long ago. Like I think I graduated college before that even happened. So
yeah. I mean, and that's I mean,
all right,
that's just to show because Ballon d'Or is obviously a very European heavy, and I mean, 5 Americans on that list is I think a little bit too low of a number.
Yeah.
And the professionalism of the women's game in Europe didn't really take off until maybe 2018, and it's still growing. Like you still see like a lot of these top level teams have kind of shabbier women's programs.
But they're setting out their men's stadium, which is crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, in those big Champions League matchups, like Wolfsburg and the Bundesliga are setting records. Barcelona has set multiple records.
PSG,
like 90,000. Arsenal is selling out the Emirates. City is selling out the Etihad. Like there's a lot of, especially for these Champions League matches, there's a lot of hype surrounding that. So that's really cool to see. But now I'm interested in seeing the debate about the women's Ballon d'Or kind of take off a little bit more, because I think you're starting to see that now, and you're starting to see people talk about, where's Naomi Girma, or is it going to be Trinity Rodman? Is it going to be Mallory Swanson? Who's it going to be from the U.S. side that's going to be in that kind of final three? Are we going to have multiple ones? So
I think that one's harder to judge because all the leagues are growing leagues, so you can't put as much emphasis on the domestic league as much as you can do international play.
Yes, I think international play has even more of an impact because the NWSL doesn't, like, you see the Champions League, they get to play each other.
Yeah.
You know, the teams from France, the teams from England, the teams from Spain, they all get to play each other. NWSL teams rarely get to play the European teams.
Or when they play the Mexican teams, you can see like
There's a big difference in drop off, and in terms of, I think Liga MX is growing, and there's a lot of talent in that league. But you're starting to see in these kind of friendlies and the summer series that they had, there is a discrepancy between the Liga MX and NWSL clubs. But I want to see, and we talked about this Jessica Black a couple weeks ago, that NWSL versus, you know, maybe like the NWSL champion versus the Champions League champion playing like a Super Copa, you know.
Right.
Like
that would be great. I would love to that because there's so much debate on that right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, I think that would add even more conversation to the Ballon d'Or, and then we can actually see a little bit more of that like purpose behind the award being granted, because we're seeing them come together, come across each other on the field.
Yeah.
Knowing the Americans, we'll call it the U.S. versus the world.
Yeah. But one thing that I think was a missed opportunity was Barcelona was just here doing their preseason tour, and they played Dallas in the USL Super League, and they played Bay FC. And they won handily in both. I mean, they played an expansion NWSL team and a brand new team in a brand new league.
Yes.
They were kind of ducking the smoke a little bit.
Right.
They could have
Ducking.
played. They could have easily played like Orlando. They could have easily played Gotham. They could have easily played Kansas City. You know, like
I would have loved the Gotham versus
the Gotham. I mean, Gotham. Chelsea.
Barcelona?
Chelsea came and played Gotham and got a good game out of that. Barcelona, this is the best team in the world.
Yeah.
You know, they have all these players that are on this Ballon d'Or finalist.
Yeah.
And they kind of ducked the smoke, which to me was, I don't know, just kind of.
They could have found a little bit more competition.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
No, and like we want to settle this debate, even though because the U.S., especially on the women's side, they've dominated. So
yeah.
I think our top teams can go at it with the best of them out there.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see. It'll be a great barbershop debate.
Yeah.
Like so. Don't duck the smoke, Barcelona. What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah. Okay, let's stick in the world of women's soccer. There's a big announcement made today. Alex Morgan, who has really been maybe not the best player in the U.S. women's national team crop over the last few years, but certainly the most popular and the most kind of like not polarizing, but like visible.
Yeah.
Like she's had the biggest
huge role model.
Yes. In terms of like the face of the team, it's Alex Morgan. It's been Alex Morgan.
Yeah. And she's had it for the last year. So it went from Mia Hamm to Hope Solo.
Right.
Hope Solo had that
falling out
with the U.S. and then Alex Morgan took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
The crush of a lot of the guys.
That Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue was I think a formative time for a lot of
growing youth.
Yes, but besides that, I think she really backed up the marketability with the play, and so she showed that it's. Yes, she's an attractive
but besides that
person,
though,
but she has game too. With that,
even though she was the best player for years and years and out. The attractive, whatever, we can speak hours about that, but she showed it on the field game after game, big game after big game, scoring goals. Came in, I believe her first game she scored a goal. She came off the bench and scored a goal. So she's shown now like she's been with she's motivated and raised half of these girls playing and you can see it from the younger players in the team. They're like, "Hey, go legend!
Right.
I'm so happy I was able to play with you. I'm so happy I was able to share the field with you." So, U.S. soccer has lost a legend. They're gonna miss her because she.
I mean, they didn't lose her.
No, know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm saying like, there's nobody that can right now that at her level. Sophia's on the rise.
Yeah.
Trinity, triple espresso, but not to the point where. Alex Morgan is.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense, right? Like she's pregnant, which is like one of the biggest.
Shout out to you, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats on the second child, which is also a huge thing for women. Like that's about like a whole year that she will have to take off to recover, and at that point, in a year, like what is that gonna look like for her? So I think that And she mentioned it in the video she posted, like this wasn't the timing for her to like want to retire, but it just makes the most sense, and I'll also definitely respect that. And I think something else that she said in the video that I like that I think I really valued and respected was she said that she's leaving the game better than she found it, and that says it all about who she is, the type of player she was, the legacy she's leaving behind, and just everything that she's given to the world within the sport of soccer, but also within women's sports in general.
Yeah, and you talk about her longevity, being able to handle the spotlight with the grace that she has. You know, she's had a couple missteps here. She got kicked out of Disneyland. You know, but we all make.
Who hasn't?
Yeah,
we're all
but
human.
I mean, for the most part, she's really been a great, you know, kind of role model. Like almost like, you know, just in terms of like that long of a period of time, you don't see that very often across a lot of sports. Like, you know, you could name those types of athletes.
LeBron James only.
You know, it's like LeBron. It's like, you know, Michael Jordan, maybe Roger Federer, someone like that has these extremely long like stretches of peak athletic performance, but also just a really good image that people can aspire to, that people can look up to, and she's really inspired a lot of players. And then even her child, who said, you know, Mom, I want to be a soccer player when I grow up, and that hit her because that she said, I think her words were, there's a visible path to that goal now, and her kid sees that goal. Maybe her kid would have seen it anyways, being the child of, you know, one of the greatest players to play, but nonetheless, like, there is that path. And even if it was, you know, the child of anybody else, they put that goal, made that goal attainable to a lot of people, whereas maybe 5, 10, I mean, you've talked about it too, like, you know, 5, 10, 15 years ago,
wasn't that
wasn't maybe
2011 when she came out, 2010, 2011 when she came out, there was no clear path. They were still fighting over equal pay, them being contracted by the U.S. Federation, opposed to like coming from a team, having a year-long playing. It would just be basically practicing with the national team opposed to practicing with the team, having your own league, having your well-developed league. So, the game has changed, especially on the women's side.
And she's always been that voice for she's always stuck up for a lot of the players that were getting maybe mistreated by a certain coach. And she's been in these situations, like a lot, like unfortunately, a lot of the women who were in that NWSL as it was growing. And she always used her voice to, you know, fight for a better treatment of players, better condition of players, and you know, I'm sure the CBA being what it is has a lot to do with the
no, definitely. She was part of the original people that sued the U.S. Federation. Rapinoe, Hope Solo, Alex Morgan. So she was part of that. Lloyd. So she was part of that group that went against the U.S. Federation for changes, and now you can see in the women's game the growth, getting paid what they deserve. Showing that how champions should be treated. So now the U.S. can be an example to different countries.
She definitely deserves the flowers, and like now that she is retiring, and like you look at her trajectory, I think it's definitely one to respect, regardless if you were a fan of hers or the teams that she was a part of, because it wasn't easy. Like, not only was she trying to show herself and prove herself as a soccer player, but she also had to fight to make that. To validate that, and that is not like, it just sucks, because that's just like what comes down to the intersectionality of having to be a woman wanting to play a game that's dominated by men, and also trying to like validate the fact that like women can create and be a part of that game. So she was a change maker, and like that's gonna follow her, you know, wherever she goes. And like you said, she's someone that made that a little bit easier for the future generation of women that want to play, or young girls that want to play soccer. Shouts
to Alex Morgan. Congrats on
Alex.
Congrats to everything that you got going on.
I had some Facebook memories talking about like when she first played. Like, who's number 13? Hard eyes.
Okay. Now we went a little bit longer than I thought, but really quick, I want to get this in.
Yes, sir.
Bridget, you were going to a Dom Kennedy concert.
Dom Kennedy.
And I don't remember the last time he was playing in LA. I mean, before the pop-out concert with Kendrick Lamar. Like, before that, it's been a minute.
I think I was in college, because I remember I would come out from college to LA to come to shows.
So Number one, I want to get like how hyped you are for this. Number two, I want to talk about really quickly just some of our LA artists and the music scene here in LA, because I think that this conversation has started to heat back up, especially with some of the recent events.
Man, I'm so excited. This has been a long week, so I'm like, dang, I'm like that. First of all, he has 2 shows. One is at 6:30. The second one is at 11:30. I don't know how the 6:30 one sold out, so I got tickets to the 11:30 p.m. show. 11:30 is crazy. Like that's usually when concerts are ending.
Right.
So I'm excited, and also I'm like, you better bring the same energy you bring from the first show to the second show.
You better not have no opening act either.
Just straight go into it. Straight start it. You know he is.
Shout out to all the opening acts out there, but there is nothing worse than when you're sitting through an opening act that isn't really hitting. Like that's not. I've been put onto a lot of music from going to concerts and seeing like, yo, this is a crazy like opening act. Like I need to figure out who this is, and I've been put onto a lot of music like that. But there's every so often, I don't know what it is, they don't put on the show, or it's not the type of music that you like, and you're standing there, your back's starting to hurt, you're like, yo, my
you're like,
God,
come on,
man.
let's
They start playing it, they play another song,
yeah.
like, oh my God.
All I can think about is the logistics, like how are you going to kick the group people out and get all your group of people and let them go, the people are going to be drunk, and people are going to want to go in ready to get drunk. So
right. It's gonna be hard. And we're going to see how that goes, but I'm excited. I'm super hyped. Dom was one of my first favorite, not first favorite, but he's definitely one of my favorite rappers. He was the first rapper that I went to a concert to. So that was to go to that first concert and then to come, full circle to now and see him, perform again in LA is gonna be dope. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I hope he brings people out. I hope he brings some LA locals out. Maybe Hit Boy, T-Fly, I don't know, maybe J305. I'm being super optimistic, but I think the vibes are going to be there. It's definitely going to be nostalgic. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. No, definitely. I heard about Dom through Nipsey. Once I heard Nipsey, I was all in Nipsey. When Hip Hop DX referred to Nipsey as a next Snoop. So I was and then I realized he's from around the way. Crenshaw Sauce, and I'm Crenshaw 48. We were 5 blocks away, so I'm like, oh, anything Crenshaw was for it. And I heard Dom, Lamar Park, baby, another person right here. So I was like, I was telling everybody, I was trying to put everybody on. I was in Arizona, look, you guys don't know nobody. Look, Nipsey and Dom. So hopefully we go too. Because it would just bring back great memories from 2010. Telling everybody this is the type of party I'm trying to have right now.
Right, this is my type of party.
Yeah, it's my type of party. So it's going to bring us back to those 21 dorm days.
Yeah. So I hope y'all make it. It's going to be a good time.
It'll be a great time.
Maybe we even see Casey Veggies up in there.
Oh, that'll be great.
Nico G4, all the LA.
Dude, there's a song, I don't know if you guys, CDC. It's Casey Veggies, Dom Kennedy, and Carter. And that was my, that was the number 1 played song on my iPod in 11th grade. That was just the, I would listen to that every single morning walking into school. That was just to get me set the tone for the day.
Listening to your iPod walking to school just hit different, man. That hit different.
with the headphones going up the shirt because
or you put it under your hoodie so that you don't look suspicious.
Oh, you was a chola.
I had to go under the hoodie. I can't have no one snatching there looking.
Pro Club hoodie.
The Pro Club hoodie with
the black one. With the thick strings. And it wasn't mine.
Shout out to Beto. I don't know. It was
4 sizes too big.
I don't know if it's name, but shout out to Beto.
I had to put it on 2 blocks away from the house because my mom would have been tripping on me.
If your crush was ever rocking one of those, you knew it was over for you.
Yeah. Don't show up with a fresh hoodie because it's gonna be mine.
Shout out to all those people twisting their fingers, getting Bridget's love. So you're set, food.
Shout out to Dom though. We'll see.
No, it's gonna be great. Especially how Kendrick brought the city out.
Yeah.
Now Dom is back. He tweeted hey, can't wait for you guys to hear this new music and how we get so excited
He's
over
about to drop
stupid
a new
tweets like that.
album.
So yeah, man, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Those are the good days.
Yeah, he's notorious for saying that he's gonna come out with new stuff,
and then
It
it's
never
like
does.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, Dom.
Yeah.
Nah, but I still love him.
Yeah.
Man, those are the good days. The one we would have to wait for tweets to like see that an
Yeah.
album was about to drop.
Even was it Kanye that had like a surprise concert in Melrose and nobody knew about it to the day? Was it him? I forget the artist, but it was one that. And I remember trying to like rush it and then seeing the line. I'm like, I'm going back home.
I remember Khalid decided to tweet like, I'm about to pull up on Santa Monica and perform for free, like pull up. And I remember I did the most to get there, and like it was crazy packed. But it was so like, I'll never forget. Like it was such a summer day, like literally just sitting on the beach watching him perform right next to the Santa Monica Pier. Like that was so sick. Like those are the good days when you would have to wait for the tweets.
Do crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now everything is like so calculated.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a team behind everything, and
like the tickets prices are insane.
Yeah, that's just the game now. That's just
No, but like I like how Schoolboy Q did it. He's like, I don't want to do big venues. I want to do 300, 400 person venues. RJ's on I think the 14, 15. RJ's gonna have gonna have a show at the Palladium as well. So
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm like,
Mr.
I'm like
LA.
excited about that too. I'm like, dang, like the amount of shows and there was somebody making fun of a artist. I forgot, was it Shaik? And they were like, hey, like shout out to the Mexicans, because without the Mexicans they want to keep rap alive, because like the fans it's a lot of Hispanics going to these shows. So
sure.
Yeah, it's LA, by the way. It's like,
that's just the demographics.
Yeah, so like that was not a great joke, but just seeing seeing different, but it's not even that. Seeing different people when it comes like supporting the same artist, and y'all come together. You might not know them. They might be from East LA. You might be from the West Side, and then you're like, yeah, remember when this song came out? And you just talk about, and then the memories was the same ones. Like I was with my friend. He put me on. I was trying to find him new music before he found it, because I didn't want him to know before me.
Sure. That was a big thing.
That was those times.
Yeah.
Good old times.
Yeah. Blog era, downloading stuff.
LimeWire.
Yeah, it was just different.
I'm old. Napster.
Damn.
Yeah,
that was the Justin Timberlake in Social Network.
Yeah, it was all Soulja Boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 90% of that. That was crazy. Okay, let's wrap things up here, because we are running short on time. But we'll keep you guys posted. I hope we end up making it up to the Dom concert, because I'm sure he's gonna bring out a bunch of people too.
Hopefully.
So, let's wrap things up here. This has been another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, Beautiful Game of Life, part of the Believe Network. Shouts to Overtime for the kits. I'm Ramsey Abushala for Julio Monterosa, Bridget Flores. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.